Good morning, Commissioners, and good morning, everyone, and welcome to the March 17th, 2022 Cumberland County Commissioners Workshop Meeting. If you would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I call this meeting to order at 9 a.m. And at this time, I open up the floor to public comments. Everybody's on. Hearing none and seeing none, we'll move on then to agenda item number 3, and I'll call on Tammy Bender to discuss a budget adjustment. Tammy? Being over style. So, Commissioners, there is a budget adjustment for your review. The Office of Aging has increased revenues by $140,000, and expenses have increased by $362,438. This budget resolution will and adjustment will correct Lawson to match the approved and revised state budget for fiscal year 2021-2022. Any questions? Okay. We'll move on then to agenda item number 4, and I'll call on Tammy Hershey to discuss contracts and grants.
Thank you, Stacy. Agenda item number 4, numeral 1, is existing contracts, contract extensions, or addenda with no additional cost or increase to the county. Commissioners, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding any agreements for the coroner's office or the prison?
For the prison, is there a typo for the new contract now that it's a no cost and no increase? It looks like it's a transposition. No big deal, but
There is. We'll make sure we find out which one is the correct amount.
thanks.
Agenda item number 4, number 2 is new contracts, vendors, services, grants, and contracts with increases or decreases to the county. I will begin by calling on Kim Winton to discuss the contract for aging and community services. Kim?
Hi, good morning, Commissioners. For Contact Helpline, the addendum is an increase of pass-through of CARES funds for the Aging and Disability Resource Center services. Any questions?
No. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Next, I will call on Jamie Ryber to discuss the contract for children and youth. Jamie.
Morning, Commissioners. This is for Hope's Haven Residential Services. This is 3 different residential homes. 2 of them are female only. 1 is male and female. They are $300 per day, and they are below their state maximum. This is a new contract for us, a new provider for us also.
Any questions for Jamie? Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
I will now call on Jack Carroll to discuss the contracts for drug and alcohol. Jack?
Good morning, Commissioners. We have 2 contracts we'd like to amend. The first is with Penn State Health Holy Spirit Hospital. One of the services that they provide for us is their Teen Line program provides the student assistance training for educators and agency staff from Cumberland and Perry counties. Over the years, we've been able to secure some funding from the state to provide scholarships to cover the cost of people who need to attend this mandatory 3-day training. Mid-year, we were able to secure some additional funding in the amount of $14,625. So we need to amend the contract to reflect that. This will allow us to provide 39 additional scholarships for the training. Any questions about that amendment? The second amendment is to our contract with Valley Forge Medical Center. And this is for 2 non-hospital services that they provide, detox and non-hospital rehabilitation. The story behind this is that Valley Forge Medical Center is one of only 2 hospital-based drug and alcohol treatment programs that we have, but they also provide these non-hospital services, which is useful to have because the hospital-based are for people with extreme medical needs, very expensive, but when their medical needs are met, it's good to be able to transfer them to the less expensive non-hospital service. Valley Forge Medical Center was recently purchased by another entity, Avenues Revenue or Avenues Recovery. The new entity is for profit. Valley Forge Medical Center had been nonprofit, and one of the things that we've learned from them is that under the nonprofit, they had charitable donations that were helping to defer the cost of their programs. So with the new owner, they submitted through the statewide rate setting process a new rate packet and requested rate increases. It's a 15% increase for their detox services and a 10% increase for their rehab services. These are on a fee-for-service basis. We don't use them a lot, but when we do, it's important to have this option available. Neither of these contract amendments have any impact on general fund monies. Questions or comments?
I would just mention that it says see reverse for rates and there's nothing here.
It's a, go through another page, Gene, it's out of
It's
order.
behind ERP, I just.
Oh, okay,
It's
thanks.
behind ERP, sorry.
That's okay, thank you.
But that was very uncommon for Teresa to
Yes.
miss. She normally catches all of that stuff, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I went to look and I noticed it went there and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I know I did it, so.
Thanks, Teresa.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for Jack?
Yeah, but I did check, so here on our end, watching you, I've watched the screen flash like 17 times there. I just did it again. Is your screen flashing on your end?
No, you guys
Okay.
look terrific. I noticed the people dressed
Very
in green for St. Patrick's Day. That's to be lauded.
Yeah.
right.
Jack, if memory serves, the last time you presented, that we had the same issue. And I believe, just in case Mark Adams is on, that Mark indicated after the meeting that he did not see the same flashing on a computer.
There it goes.
It just
again.
happened again for us, like just now. So if anybody else who is in a department head, please reach out to us after and let us know if Jack was flashing on your screen. And I mean his image, not us.
Please be careful with your wording there.
I know, yes. I tried to salvage it. I did try to salvage it.
I am watching, by the way, so I'll take a closer look at
I
that.
figured.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you,
All right.
commissioners.
Thank you.
Jack. Okay. I will now call on Beth Cornick to discuss the contract for ERP.
Good morning. The info addendum is a 3-year extension for loss and maintenance. The $783,637 contract is $80,000 higher than the previous contract. It is a 3-year contract. The equivalent is a 4% increase for each year. If we lock into a 3-year contract with M4 Lawson, then we can avoid the 7% increase because they will reduce the increase to 4% if you lock in for 3 years. In the event we upgrade Lawson to version 11, whether it's on premise or in the cloud, a new contract would supersede this contract. So we would not be locked into this one if we got a new contract with them.
Any questions for Beth?
Beth, I don't know if I asked this 3 years ago. I ask it now. Why is this so expensive? It's $60,000 a year for what?
It provides us all the upgrades. It provides us tax information, all support help desk stuff. It provides training for like my level If new products come out, it allows us access to all of it.
Is Lawson integrated into like every department's actions and work every day?
Pretty much, yes. So every department relies on Lawson. I did add an information sheet with the contract. There's 270 Lawson users above employee self-service level. Departments that heavily rely on Lawson on a daily basis are finance, controller's office, human resources, and the treasurer. All other departments use it for requisitions, to order supplies, invoice entry, cash deposits. And then it interfaces with quite a number of systems throughout the county, so we avoid double entry in a lot of areas. And some of the highlights of those are interfaces with Kronos, Laserfish, Questica, the P4P app that was created. We do exports to the health services so that HR does not have to enter everything twice. We just download it right from Lawson. High rail, bank reconciliations, and the badging system. Those are the highlights.
So there's a lot of efficiency where we're saving money in other places because we have all of the services that this amount provides for us.
Correct.
How many years has this been in place?
What is the first year that you were commissioner?
Yeah, they were implementing it when I got here,
We
so it's,
implemented it in 2003,
yeah,
and it went live January of 2004.
Yeah.
So what, 18 years?
yeah. It's a very big deal. I mean, it's pretty much the epicenter of financial management for the organization. It's been a key part of the cost containment effort
And
over the years as
this
well.
software allows us great flexibility in doing those interfaces to other software. So we hadn't hardly ever had a problem getting the information out of the system in whatever form we need to supply to whoever wants it. So it is,
It's a little more
great.
efficient than the old AS400.
oh, just a bit.
Yeah.
Just, so yeah. So before Lawson, I worked on SAP, and the difference between the two is just night and day. So this one's very versatile.
Well, that helps, Beth. I appreciate your explanation.
All right, thank you, Beth.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
I will now call on Brent Durham to discuss the contract for facilities.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'll start off by saying Jack was not flashing on my screen, which is a good thing. But we are asking permission here to enter a service agreement contract with Siemens Industry Incorporated for a 3-year term. The services included our annual test and inspection of the fire alarm systems, duct detector pressure testing, sprinkler system and the fire pumps, along with a semi-annual visual inspection of the fire alarm systems. The 3-year aggregate total for this contract is $40,476. Our previous contract had a couple addendums to it, plus it included the nursing home. So we're just trying to get this all cleaned up and consolidated. Because of these changes, the comparison numbers there in front of you I know are confusing. I did run the numbers building by building so that we would have an apples for apples comparison to the previous contract. And I found that over the 3-year term, this contract is actually $291 less than the previous contract. Any questions?
Yeah.
Thank you, Brent.
Thank you.
I will now call on Mark Adams to discuss the contract for IMTO. Mark?
Morning, Commissioners. What I have in front of me today is a addendum to an existing contract with our wireless wide area network new vendor. We are looking for some hourly rate for emergency services should we need some last minute emergency support from them. The hourly rate is $155 an hour. We're estimating about 20 hours for this addendum, which is $3,100. This will be only used as needed. So, hopefully no expense, but in the event we do need some support, we have it with this addendum.
Questions from Mark? Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
I will now call Annie Strike to discuss the contract for MHIDD. Annie?
Good morning, all. So I need to present an amendment to an existing contract. We provide some outpatient services for individuals who are currently at Cumberland County Prison. And the contract is with Pennsylvania Counseling Services, and they're providing more services this year than they had in prior years. So we're needing to amend the contract to make sure that we're able to fully fund them through the fiscal year end. So we're asking for an increase of $4,387, which would bring the total contract to $12,000. Do you have any questions?
I will now call on Claudia Gardner to discuss the grants for public safety.
Good morning, everyone. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Public Safety is asking for your permission to apply for 2 grants from Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency. We apply for these each year. The first is the Radiation Emergency Response Fund grant for state fiscal year 22-23 in the amount of $23,204, which is an increase of about $1,700 from last year. This funding source allows for expenditures related to the preparedness efforts for any radiological emergencies. We submit a work plan with the application of the anticipated expenditures, and PEMA looks at that and reviews it, and then will give us the grant award. The performance period is July 1, 22 through June 30, 23. And the second grant, also through PEMA, is the Hazardous Materials Response Fund grant, state fiscal year 22-23 as well. Each year, counties are required to submit an annual assessment that outlines the capabilities and limitations of our hazmat team to be able to respond to the various types of hazardous incidents that could potentially occur, given the chemicals that are transported through and stored at facilities in the county. The amount of this grant will be determined once all of the counties had submitted their intent to apply for the grant. They'll review each of our assessments, and then they will award based on a formula. Assuming that you approve for us to apply for this grant, there is a certification page that will need to be digitally signed by each of you. Teresa has that, and that can be forwarded back to me, and then I will upload that with our application. And that performance period is also July 1, 22 through June 30, 23. Any questions on that?
You're none. Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you.
That concludes the contracts and grants. I will now turn the meeting back over to Stacy.
Thank you. So we'll move on then to agenda item number 5, and I'll call on Dana Best to present the action requested item regarding a bond. Dana?
Good morning. I want to first say I'm sorry for being late, and thank you, Stacy, for handling the budget adjustment, the budget resolution earlier. We're requesting a motion to authorize the finance department and other staff to work with PFM Financial Advisors as financial advisor, at McNeese, Wallace and Nurick as bond counsel, and the county solicitor Keith Brenneman with respect to the issuance of the general obligation bond series of 2022 for the purpose of funding new money needs of the county in the approximate amount of $15 million. We had come forward, we had presented to you on March 9th the details of the estimates for the bond issuance. So, thank you. Any questions?
I do have a question, Dana. First off, thank you for not flashing. Okay.
You're welcome.
But I don't know if you were privy to the Jack Carroll's presentation, but I do have a question on it. We have, in terms of the financings that have been done in the past, I know we've often been we've had lock-in commitments that these dollars will be used for this, and there was very little flexibility in applying those over various categories. So my question is this: we have, of course, a unique timing going on right now that there are substantial public funds that are available to us over the near term. And we have significant discretion on how those are applied. So there's a lot of decisions to be made on that. Obviously, it would benefit us to be able to flex those dollars in different ways once there are decisions made by the board. And those discussions have not yet taken place. So how much lock-in is there on this? How much flexibility would we have? Because if we're smart about how we apply those public funds, it could substantially affect our need to draw on bond funding.
Correct. And so for this bond issue, you're correct, we would be locked into the radio project. But that part of the reason that we're planning on doing the project in two is to have that flexibility on the second bond issue, on how much or if we need a second bond issue, because it's a $30 million project. So, and when we get closer to the time to issue, if we find we only need 10 million, we can do a lesser amount. Or if we find that there's another project to add in, you know, we still have the flexibility to do that until we do the operating statement.
Okay, so any, I don't want to say corrective action, but any adjustment we want to make to our outlay plan can happen on the second issuance.
Correct.
Okay.
And we still have time to adjust the first one also.
Okay, and roughly speaking, the what is that time frame?
So we our initial plan is to have all the documentation complete, the S&P rating done, and the bond sale to occur in May, with receiving the money in June. But we will keep our eyes on both the project and the market to determine when we should do that sale. So we'll be back before you in April to talk about timing again.
Okay, so but the lock in on the commitment is envisioned to be where in that sequence?
So currently you're locking us in to be able to start getting all the paperwork ready to work with S&P and to get all of that done. When we come back in April, we'll be locking more into the timeline, setting up the bond sale, putting the amount in stone. Now, if the market changes, we may shift that to May, or if the project shifts, but we're estimating in April.
Okay, so we have significant discretionary power for at least another month.
Correct.
Okay.
Or more.
Or more. Okay. Great.
The purpose of this is for the radio project, period, correct? That's what
At
I
this
understand.
point, yes.
Yeah.
We normally add wording so that if for some reason we would have money left over, we could use it for another project.
Is this a file? Is there, as part of this, is there a filing done with the Securities and Exchange Commission?
I
bet bond
don't know the
counsel knows.
specifics of that because it's government debt. We do file with the DCED. There's stuff that happens that bond counsel and PFM handle. So I don't know if we do anything with SEC. We are required to do things with EMA, which is the Municipal Marketing Board.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, before we close the action, any additional questions? All right, we'll entertain a motion then.
I'll make a motion to authorize the finance department and county staff to work with PFM Financial Advisors as financial advisor, McNeese, Wallace, and Nurick as bond counsel, and the county solicitor with respect to the issuance of general obligation bond series of 2022 for the purpose of funding new money needs of the county in the approximate amount of $15 million.
I will second that motion.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Last opportunity for any questions, comments? Hearing none, call the vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. There are none opposed. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Dane.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dana. Agenda item number 6 is to address whether or not Cumberland County will join with Adams County in the regional broadband study and appropriate county American Rescue Plan funds to support the study. This is an action requested item, and commissioners, if you have any questions, Kirk and I can certainly entertain them.
One quick update, Franklin County joined the study.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
So they're in.
more than Adams.
And then as I talked to Adams County, I called yesterday and asked if where we're at. And I said the board was considering it today. And they encouraged the board, if we do decide to join the study, if you have any questions, comments, or other inclusions you'd like to see in the RFP, to provide them to.
So Franklin's joining. What amount are they contributing? What does that do to our allocation?
I'm not aware, Gary.
Okay.
At our meeting with the Adams County folks, I thought they had mentioned Franklin was already in, or had confirmed they would be.
They probably just hadn't voted on it.
Yeah, I think they voted.
Now they've committed.
They formally committed.
Right. Okay, so we need a motion on the.
I will move to approve joining Adams County in the regional broadband study and appropriate County American Rescue Plan funds to support the study.
Could I ask that the motion include Franklin County?
Sure, let me amend the motion to add Franklin County. So it would be a motion to approve joining Adams County and Franklin County in the regional broadband study and appropriate County American Rescue Plan funds to support the study.
Sorry, second question. Keith, do we need an amount here?
No.
You do not, okay. I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's moved in second. First opportunity for questions. I have a comment. I'm going to be voting against this for reasons that I largely outlined before. I just don't think there's enough bang for the buck for us. The benefit largely accrues to Franklin and Adams County. Most of the data that we ostensibly are seeking is either available or largely available or easily discoverable. We're in a very dynamic period of what's happening in terms of internet availability. I think this data that we get from the study is going to be obsolete before it's even received. New technologies are rolling out by the private sector as we speak. SpaceX, for instance, with their Starlink system, which is servicing this county, SpaceX is now launching 50 high-speed satellites every week. So there are new fixed wireless options coming. There are 2 other satellite constellations that are going to be in competition to the field. They are coming very soon as well. So that's just my opinion, and I'll be voting accordingly. So we have the motion on the floor. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please list me as opposed. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'll call on Commissioner Fauci to discuss the appointment recommendation to the Cumberland County Library System Board.
So we have an appointment recommendation to the Cumberland County Library System Board. This is an alternate position. And the nominee is Miss Carmen James. Ms. James has been active with the Cumberland County Library System for many, many years. So the appointment is to fill a vacancy commencing March 21, 2022 and expiring December 31, 2024.
Thank you, Commissioner. Agenda item number 8 is Commissioner Liaison Reports, and I'll start by calling on Commissioner Eichelberger.
Okay, just briefly have, probably all saw there was an article picked up by the local newspaper in regards to household hazardous waste disposal. We always welcome that publicity. It's a very popular event. April 14 is our event, right, Kirk?
That's right.
Paper got it right? Okay. So make sure you get your taxes done early. Don't wait till the last minute like I do. So you're available to come out to the recycling center and get rid of your household hazardous waste. There are reservations required for anybody who happens to be listening or watching the webcast. 717-240-6489 is the phone number to call. Reserve your space in line, 15-minute intervals. We'll get you in and out if you're on time. It's 50 cents a pound. There's a charge, cents a pound. The true cost is more than that. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, seen the wisdom of helping underwrite this. So mostly paint and what are the other materials that are most commonly?
Paint, pesticides,
Pesticides,
gas.
gasoline. What's that?
Used motor.
Motor. Great opportunity. It's a very popular event. We're doing 4 of them this year, so don't miss it. Other items, MHIDD has board meeting today. I do plan to be in attendance. Just have a sneak peek at the report, and it's kind of a continuation of what we've seen. Crisis intervention numbers continue to really move upward. And we are, the only good news is we're with the easing of some of the COVID restrictions, there'll be some greater ease in actually providing on-site servicing. The big bugaboo right now is the provider staffing issue. Providers are experiencing anywhere from 25% to 64% staffing deficits. Those people just are not there. So providers can't provide service without having folks to provide the service. So the governor's new proposed budget does have 18.8 million in a waiting list initiative for ID and early intervention. So they're hopeful that that's going to be lead to expansion of service. I mentioned with the COVID numbers, EI referrals continue to rise, not surprisingly, given the increase in population. Those trend lines are going to continue most likely. Only other item I have, of course, we had our CAPE board meeting this week. All commissioners were in attendance, so I think they're pretty much fully briefed. We have, of course, just to summarize, the hotel tax receipts are back to normal, in fact, better than what we had experienced pre-COVID. So that's a good indication. Lots of visitors coming here for business and some destination travel. Their visitor promotion really is pretty much firing on all cylinders. Kristen Rose doing a great job as the head of that. On the business development side, continue to move forward with some detailed plans on the retooling of the blueprint. In particular, looking to reinvigorate the lending role for new businesses in particular. And recruitment selection mode is going full bore to bolster the business support side of the shop, so we can get them back up to the type of potential we had a while back. So moving forward on that. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Fauci.
So Tuesday, CCAP, there was a meeting of the Behavioral Health Services Committee, and there was a lengthy discussion about mental health funding in the Commonwealth because Representative Saylor, who is the chair of the Appropriations Committee, has stated he does not want to increase services that impact future budgets and will use incomplete data reports as a deterrent to fund base mental health funds. This is a terrifying comment on this man's part. So as we know, in the Commonwealth, mental health funding has been flat funded for about 10 years. We know that our budget here in Cumberland County for mental health is about $1 million in the hole. And now we have the chair of the Appropriations Committee saying that he does not want to increase base mental health funding because he doesn't like, and I'm just going to paraphrase here, the way forms are completed. I am working with Annie Stride on this. I'm working with CCAP on this. I have a couple of phone calls in today, and I know that CCAP and PACA are very busy lobbying to work on this issue. But you know, there's a lot of blustering on the part of Representative Saylor on this, and it certainly does not serve the people of the Commonwealth nor the people of Cumberland County. And it is very disappointing that you know, we elect officials to serve a constituency, to serve a community, and then, you know, being upset about forms or the way things are filed. That the threat would be, well, we won't increase mental health funding. It's ridiculous. It certainly is not behavior that an elected official should be behaving in, but there's a lot of blustering that goes on everywhere. So that's the first piece. I'm keeping a close eye on this, and I have another phone call today with PACA about it. So the next thing I have is the Western COG. We met on Monday. There was a lot of comment about the cost of the P25 radios. They're very concerned about how those are going to be paid for. And one of the things that was mentioned to me, and I mentioned it to Bob Shively at Public Safety, is that there's a thought on the radio board that maybe there are too many options available in terms of radios. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And at the Western Cog, there was also a wonder if there was maybe federal grant assistance that could help with the purchase of these P25 radios. The Western Cog also talked about liquid animal waste, and Commissioner DiFilippo, I mentioned your name as someone who is familiar with this
Springs right to
subject.
mind. Springs right to mind.
Could certainly empathized and told them the story about you having your truck, you know, there at a farm and how that had permeated, that smell had
Oh my
permeated
God,
your
yeah,
truck.
Biggest year. No.
Yes,
Your
but
church. Yeah.
the Western Cog, anyway, I learned, I did not realize that chicken farts that are spread on a field like that are highly flammable. There's there was some conversation about methane burners and how they could be used to get rid of that kind of waste and they don't give off an odor. And finally, they wanted to know why hasn't this been outlawed in Pennsylvania? One of the reasons all this liquid waste comes to us is because our neighboring states have said, no way are you using this here, but it's legal here in PA. And of course, the fuel bids are very troubling at the Western Cog, and those amounts vary tremendously day by day. The library, so April is National Library Week, and I know that the library system will be coming to us, asking us if we would be kind enough to declare that week. So I would be in support of a declaration of National Library Week within the Cumberland County Library System. This morning, I had the pleasure of starting at 7:30 a.m. with the Planning Commission and Mr. Stoner, and I'm sorry I had to leave early, Kirk. But we had Planning Commission, and Mary Kuna came and she talked about the blighted property at 420 Bosler Avenue. And the commission went ahead and approved that could be taken in an eminent domain action. So she's going to go ahead and move that forward just with their approval, that they could start the eminent domain process. Middlesex Township, their comprehensive plan future land use map amendment and their zoning amendment NDD zone and rezoning to NC. That was approved with a 5-2 vote by the board. And there was a lot of talk about the ag lands within Middlesex Township. I gave my liaison report and I had to leave. But just so you know, Cumberland County subdivision and land development activity, so far this year, there have been 21 year-to-date plans, and in February, there were 10 plans. And Cumberland County Plan Review final status, I think this is very, very interesting. So far, well, to 2/28 of 2022, our plan review team has looked at 271 total lots, which is pretty amazing work in 2 months. So that's what I have. Oh, and please use the library system.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Commissioner DiFilippo.
I have one update. The Ag Board met last week. Will be going through before the next meeting, rankings of the current 29 applicants that we have on file. I had mentioned before, I think, that we will be settling on the 200th farm in our county sometime later this month or next month. And the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture certified its funds for this year, and Cumberland County has leveraged $2.1 million from the state in grant matching funds. Later today, Housing and Redevelopment Authority will meet, and I'll be there. Aging Advisory Board on Friday, Capital Region Council of Governments Monday evening, and the Conservation District Tuesday evening. So next workshop, I'll have reports on those 4. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner. I would like to report that an executive session was held on March 16th, 2022 at 9:30 a.m. regarding personnel. Is there any other business that needs to come before the board today?